A Toronto woman is speaking out about her privacy being breached after taking a Lyft ride last month. Moments after her ride ended, she got a text message. In it, a transcript of her and her friend's entire conversation in that vehicle. Sarah McMillan has her story.
An 8-minute rideshare drive has led to weeks of unease and unanswered questions for Anvi Ahuja. Last month, she took a Lyft with her roommates to their downtown Toronto apartment. When she got home, she received a text message from an unknown number that she can only describe one way.
Freaky.
That message was a transcription of the conversation she'd had minutes earlier with her friends in the back of the car.
It was such a long, weird message, and I got really freaked out. I was like, I think I'm being stalked. I think this is just really freaky.
When she calls the number back,
"We can't connect your call because your driver is not available right now."
It clearly showed to me that it's not a personal number. It's a number associated within a system, so that raised a lot more eyebrows for me.
Lyft's explanations about how this happened have been inconsistent. Ahuja says when she first spoke with a Lyft representative by phone that night, she was told the recording was part of a pilot project by the company. In later messages, the company blamed the driver for recording without Ahuja's consent, calling the behavior unacceptable. While drivers and riders don't have access to each other's phone numbers, Lyft's privacy policy says it uses a third party so they can call and text each other, which could be how the driver contacted Ahuja through a masked number. Lyft does have a recording pilot in some U.S. cities, but not here in Canada, and insists this incident is unrelated. Ahuja's experience could be more than just unsettling. In Canada, it's against the law to record someone else's conversation without their consent or a court order. Privacy experts say this incident could also contravene federal privacy laws. Anne Kavukian is Ontario's former privacy commissioner.
How can this take place? You're paying for a taxi equivalent to take you somewhere, Lyft in this case, and of course you assume that you're going to have conversations with other people in the car without it being taped and transcribed and retained. Completely unacceptable.
Lyft says it takes reports like this seriously, but Ahuja says she's not satisfied with how the company has responded.
It was not until like multiple nudges that I even got a response around the fact that we're so sorry your driver did that. I don't think Lyft took it seriously at all, and I don't think they took accountability on any of it.
Ahuja says she's done taking Lyfts. Sarah McMillan, CBC News, Toronto.
An Australian-inspired coffee shop chain in Toronto is questioning Canada's food regulation rules. This comes after it was forced to remove Vegemite, an Australian staple, from its shelves and menus. Tyler Cheese has this story.
Found Coffee is a chain of Australian-style cafes in Toronto owned by an Australian-Canadian. So it's no surprise to find Vegemite, a staple in Australian households, on the chain's menu.
It's really good. You can use it in soups, you can use it in gravies, you can use it in stocks, you can use it on toast, you can use it on crumpets, which is the way I do it. It's such a diverse product.
When it comes to taste, the yeast-based spread can be divisive, but flavor isn't the reason the Canadian Food Agency took issue with a recent order.
We provided all the information that they needed, and they turned around and issued us a breach notice or an inspection report where they verbally called me up and said, you know, this is a non-compliant product, it's banned for sale, you can't sell it.
The CFIA told CBC Toronto Vegemite contains added vitamins that are not permitted as per the food and drug regulations. The coffee chain has complied with the CFIA's order, but that's left them with around $8,000 of unsellable product. Regular Found customers have rallied around the owners to express their disappointment with the situation.
I think it's sad, because I think Vegemite's a good thing to have in your life.
Vegemite is a homegrown icon, and that's why I think people are up in arms that this national food icon of ours is being threatened.
The Aussies say there are ways to get Vegemite in Canada, but the CFIA says it's unaware of any Vegemite product that complies with Canada's food and drug regulations. Vegemite is similar to the UK's Marmite, a product that is allowed in Canada, but with modifications.
But you can buy Marmite today. But the Marmite we buy in Canada isn't fortified as such. So that's the difference. So really with this case, it was more they didn't really seek pre-market approval or opinion, and they just imported it thinking they could just sell it.
Found's owner says he understands the issue but wants to work with the regulators to come to a solution.
The best outcome to me, I think, is simply to just say, you know what, we misunderstood the product. You're all good to use it. You're good to put it back on the menu, and we're going to learn from it.
The CFIA says when a product is found to be non-compliant, inspectors advise involved parties to explore options such as re-export to recover costs. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
OPP are investigating a fatal collision along the westbound lanes of Highway 401 in Scarborough this morning. Police were called just after 10 to the westbound collector lanes near Meadowvale. Officers say a single vehicle crashed into the guardrail. The driver was pronounced dead on scene, and 2 passengers taken to a local trauma center with serious injuries. A 43-year-old Mississauga man is facing multiple charges in a disturbing case of animal cruelty.
They were able to identify a suspect who they believed to be using an alias of Joey, using social media platforms online, and purchasing these young puppies online before causing harm to them.
Peel police say he is facing 4 counts each of cruelty to animals, killing or injuring animals, and causing unnecessary suffering to animals. Officers say they are aware of 8 dogs involved, but only 4 have been accounted for. One of them was found dead. The others were found badly injured, but are expected to recover. All were between 8 to 10 weeks old. Police are asking the public to contact them if they ever sold a puppy online to a buyer advertised as Joey. It's been a tumultuous and stressful few months for many business owners in Toronto with the roller coaster that is Trump's tariffs. Well, today, city councillors getting a better idea of how the business community is feeling and their outlook for the future as staff delivered its first report on Toronto's tariff response plan. Lane Harrison has the details.
Our small businesses in our city are really scared.
As part of the early work of Toronto's tariff response plan, the city is hearing how local businesses think tariffs will impact them. With early results coming before the Mayor's Executive Committee Monday from a survey conducted before April 4th, meaning it doesn't reflect the latest changes in the trade war.
The reality of how the tariffs are going to affect consumer prices hasn't yet fully been realized. We will learn that as things become more clear over the next days, weeks, and potentially even months. That all being said, though, the fear is real. The lack of confidence on the ground is real, and we need to make sure that our small businesses know that we've got their back.
Of the 513 businesses that responded, 75% say they expect rising costs, and 56% say they rely on imports from the U.S., while nearly a third say they see job losses on the horizon, and the same number say they've stopped hiring.
That's why we've launched an economic action plan to support local businesses and jobs, with action like local procurement, property tax deferrals, and leading a Buy Local campaign.
That tax relief is something survey respondents are looking for. And while that short-term support is in the works, councillors also spoke about a new long-term reality.
I hope that after this whole tariff fiasco is done, and I hope it's done one day, that we don't lose sight of that new focus and that new investment, which is to support local, shop local, and remember that each one of these businesses are not just businesses, they're people.
They discussed what they can do for that new reality, like safeguarding space for industrial use in the city.
We need to have employment lands protected in the City of Toronto and across the region. If we cannot make things, if we cannot protect ourselves in terms of being able to manufacture, build things, we are putting ourselves in a risky situation.
This update will also be shared at a city council meeting later this month. Then in July, staff will come back and share an update on how well these tariff response measures actually worked. At that point, they will also make recommendations on any next steps that the city should take, depending on how the situation looks this summer. Lane Harrison, CBC News, Toronto.
History was made in the Ontario Legislature on this first day of the new session. For the first time, Queen's Park has a female speaker. And as Lorena Redicott reports, she says she's not afraid to get tough with misbehaving colleagues.
You have elected Donna Skelly, member for Plainville. An exciting day for this progressive Conservative MPP. Donna Skelly becomes the first woman to serve as Speaker in the Ontario Legislature. Though keeping with legislative tradition, she feigned her reluctance to accept the role. One of the biggest cheers as she headed to the Speaker's chair for the first time, accepting congratulations from her only other competitor, also a woman, the NDP's Jennifer French. As Skelly stood in her new spot, a recognition of the moment.
Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now in a nonpartisan role, she thanked all the party leaders for making her the 44th Ontario Speaker.
But more importantly, I'm so humbled that I'm the first woman in provincial history.
Premier Doug Ford spoke before the vote, anticipating Skelly would win. Though unlike other votes in the House, the choice for Speaker is a secret ballot.
She's blazing a new trail. This is historic. It's amazing that we have a woman as a Speaker, and I'm actually shocked it's taken this long.
Afterwards, Skelly spoke to reporters, promising to try to bring the temperature down between opposing parties.
Politics is a very, very tough sport. It's a blood sport, and especially with social media, there are a lot of attacks on our politicians. We don't need to be attacking each other in the House. You can be passionate, but let's not make it personal.
As for what she'll do if they get out of hand,
throw them out. If they're not here, they can't act up, right?
her first test as Speaker will likely be playing referee as the government brings in new legislation on breaking down interprovincial trade barriers. The Premier has promised that will be his first big order of business. But before that, on Tuesday, will be the speech from the throne, laying out this government's priorities. Lorenda Redicomp, CBC News, Toronto.
After signing a massive new contract with the Jays, we are finally hearing from superstar slugger Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Another thing is the organization, organization. I don't see this like organization, I see this like I'm a family, I've been with this organization since 2015, it's 10 years, so this organization is part of my family.
News of that deal first broke a week ago. It's worth $500 million and will last 14 years, right through the 2039 season. And that's the third largest contract in league history and the largest ever for the franchise. Guerrero is a homegrown face of the franchise and has been one of the game's more impactful players since making his big league debut in 2019. And he was joined by his wife and daughter and told a story about his daughter asking whether they would stay in Toronto. Asked what he loves about this city and country, Vladdy said, the fans. North of the GTA, the cleanup is still going on from the big ice storm that swept through the region 2 weeks ago. The mayor of Oro-Medonte is now calling on the province to declare a natural disaster in the township. Many local business owners supporting that call, including the owner of Glen Oro Farm, who says the storm dealt a devastating blow.
It's been a surreal experience, the levels of shock as it was happening, and you're witnessing trees falling every 10 to 15 seconds, literally crashing down on my dream, the things I brought from my mind into reality. This used to be a forest behind me, and it's now just an open field.
He says the camping retreat that he built on his family farm 8 years ago will cost around $300,000 to restore. Now, if the province declares the storm a natural disaster, it would allow local businesses to apply for federal and provincial relief funds. Mayor Randy Greenlaw says over $700,000 have already been spent in the cleanup, and there's still a lot of work ahead.
This has been a horrific, natural weather disaster that has impacted this municipality very significantly. It's been the worst storm I can ever remember, and I've lived in parts of this township my entire life.
Greenlaw says he is sending a letter to Premier Doug Ford requesting natural disaster relief for residents. Without it, he says he may have to adjust the tax levy, which could mean hiking property taxes next year. Welcome back. William Osler Health System and Humber Polytechnic are launching a new nursing program. It's the first of its kind in Canada and a way for future nurses to get better clinical training. Brittany Billette has the details.
hands-on experience, and more exposure. That's what Humber Polytechnic nursing students are experiencing through a new program.
They get to see nurses working under pressure, under different scenarios, and I think it helps them to be confident and build those skills that they're going to experience in the real world.
Today, faculty and staff officially launched the Humber-Osler Academic Practice Partnership. It opens up 40 clinical placement seats at hospitals, including Etobicoke General and Brampton Civic. That's where students will learn in real-life settings from their second year to their fourth and final year. Staff say it's the first of its kind in the country.
We truly believe that this academic practice partnership is the vision for nursing within the province of Ontario, and patients are telling us they are experiencing a greater sense of empathy, caring, and compassion within this environment.
Faculty say the program is 3 years in the making, and it'll help students transition into the workforce easier by making their clinical experience more consistent.
They felt like they belonged, and that anxiety that they experienced when they started a new placement and don't know anyone has just been totally resolved. And so now they're able to focus on the learning and the patient care, which is the reason they are here in the first place.
I believe that if this program was available, if this partnership was available 10 years ago, it would have been a very smooth transition for me. There would be more consistency, as I would be consistently placed in the same organizations. I would save time learning the policies and the softwares and the teams. So it would be very helpful.
This nursing advocate calls the program unique and mutually beneficial.
Ideally, Humber College will not need to worry about a lot of their clinical placements because there is huge competition for clinical placements. And William Osler, in turn, will need to worry a bit less about retaining talent because they will know the talent from the time they were students, and they will have passed several of these placements with clinical placements with them, and that will ease on the shortage that they're experiencing.
The new collaboration will also create joint research initiatives between Humber faculty and Osler teams, projects that could lead to better health outcomes. Brittany Billette, CBC News, Toronto.
The NBA regular season wrapped on Sunday, and for the third straight year, the Raptors missed the playoffs. Players held exit interviews today at the OVO Athletic Center, and as Dale Manuktuk reports, the team's staying hopeful for next season.
Billed as a rebuilding year, the Toronto Raptors finished off the season 30-52, the seventh worst record in the league. Many of their key guys missed significant time with injuries, but the team played above their heads for the second half of the year, winning 50% of their games. The goal next season is a return to the playoffs.
I feel like we got what it takes. We got a great young core. Starting five's gonna look crazy next year. We're still going to add, like I said, we're still going to add some talent.
Part of that next year's starting five Barnes alluded to is Brandon Ingram, who the team acquired mid-season. He hasn't suited up a game due to an ankle injury, but Toronto inked him to a $120 million 3-year extension anyway. He says he's ready to go.
Scoring the basketball. You know, I score the basketball in a lot of ways, but being able to show off my passing a little bit, you know, I like when everybody's involved.
Part of what has the team's veterans excited is the development of the rookies who, because of injuries, got more opportunities.
Walter puts it up and in! Jacoby Walter, the rookie!
Having rookies, you know, that go out there and are producing at the level that they're at, it's not normal.
The Raptors have the 7th best odds at the #1 overall pick in this year's draft. Some believe they should have lost more to increase their chances of adding college superstar Cooper Flagg.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Wolu.
This Raptors podcast host sees both sides.
Ironically, there are two objectives cut against each other on that front, but I think when given the chance, I think you would rather take having good development and good drafting over just putting all your eggs in one basket with one pick.
We'll hear more about the team's direction from head coach Darko Rajakovic tomorrow and from team president Masai Ujiri later this week. Dale Manuktuk, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, Chris Potter joins us now with a check on the forecast. And Chris, looks like we may be needing our umbrellas tomorrow morning.
And Kelda, it does look like unsettled weather is on tap for us on Tuesday, primarily during the morning in the form of showers as opposed to heavy rain or thunderstorms. Still umbrella worthy enough, and it will end up being a little bit cooler than it has been yesterday, peaking in the mid-teens. Today in the mid-teens as well. 11.4 is that normal daytime high, so we were trending a bit above normal, especially over southwestern Ontario. High teens, low 20s, almost the mid-20s towards Sarnia, kind of the hot spot of southern Ontario at 23. Toronto peaked at 14 and 17 in Ottawa. We do have a system moving across northern Ontario, and it is going to give us those showers, but it's a little bit different compared to snow. Northwestern and northern Ontario dealing with some snowfall. This will continue to be the case as we step forward through the overnight. Snowfall warnings are actually posted for a lot of communities up there, 15 to 25 centimeters. Southern Ontario, it's a bit of a different story. Starting off with generally clear skies after midnight, then we start to see increase in clouds just before daybreak. It looks like the morning, we're going to see this little line of showers move across the GTA. Nothing heavy, but that's when the most steady showers will be expected. Through the afternoon, it kind of breaks apart. We're looking at kind of hit or miss on and off showers, but then the colder air starts to move in, and as it moves across Lake Huron and Georgian Bay, you guessed it, some lake effect flurries start to develop, and this is going to be the activity through the afternoon, the evening, and into the overnight. So if you're going to be traveling in those areas, especially over higher terrain up the escarpment, be prepared for potential slick road conditions and obviously visibility restrictions. We're not going to see that in the GTA, but you might see during the early evening a few wet flurries on the north end. When we get into Wednesday, especially during the second half of the day, high pressure moves in, and that will effectively clear out all our cloud cover as we get into the late afternoon, and we're going to hold on to beautiful conditions for us on Thursday. Lots of sunshine, light southerly winds, and yes, daytime highs near normal. It's into Friday that we have another opportunity for rainfall, not showers. So it looks like Friday could be wet, especially Friday night and into early Saturday morning. Snowfall potential, and I don't really use this too often in mid-April, but here it is. The lake effect flurries will start to generate. Once again, over higher terrain up the escarpment, Grey Bruce County, you're looking at 2 to 5 centimeters, but then it starts to dry out and clear off, and then any evidence of snow will be off the ground by Wednesday afternoon. Daytime highs tomorrow, pretty universal. It looks like 7 degrees, 6 degrees for us on Wednesday, clearing late in the day, lots of sunshine for Thursday, periods of rain Friday late, showers possible into Saturday morning, Kelda. It does look like we could see those clear in case you have something big or small planned.
All right, thanks so much, Chris. And that's our show for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night, everyone.